so
ready?
weird to me.
Let's get this over with.
Yeah. Because even though it loaded up on my own laptop, I ain't taking no risk anymore. So hopefully this works.
Nothing like recording Nick's picks at 12:43 in the morning.
As soon as we're done, I know you gotta work more, but as soon as I get done, I'm going right to bed.
Feel bad for Amber. I'm probably about to wake her up right now. What is going on, guys? Week 2 of the NFL season. We are back. It's Nick's picks. I am joined by a really shitty camera quality with Ben and some bad audio too, but we'll get through it. Ben, it's week 2. It is 12:45 in the morning, and the Monday night game literally ended like an hour ago. But how you doing?
I'm okay. I was at work. I had to run the Emmy, so I really didn't really watch that much. I've seen bits and pieces.
To do a quick recap from week 1, guys, the Bills obviously played the Rams on Thursday night. The Bills won that 131-10. That was Ben's game of the week. Did not get any points for that. Falcons absolutely choked a lead against the New Orleans Saints. Ben did get points for that, but must be good watching the Falcons choke another league. The Bears beat the 49ers 19-10. Trey Lance obviously did not do all that well in his very first game as a San Francisco 49er. Pittsburgh Steelers beat the defending AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals after both teams missed a field goal in overtime to win it, and then the Steelers finally managed to get the win. The Lions lost to the Eagles in a shootout, 38-35. I
didn't even know what the score of that game was.
That was
if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, that was nuts. The Dolphins beat the Patriots 20-7, much to, I kind of assumed that would happen. The Ravens beat the Jets 24-9. The Commanders beat the Jaguars 28-22, so the first win in Commanders football history. Browns beat the Panthers 26-24, ruining Baker Mayfield's calendar date, proving he was the problem. The Colts and the Texans tied, meaning that all 4 AFC South teams don't have a win, even though 2 of them played each other. The Packers lost to the Vikings 23-7 because Rodgers didn't have his drugs. The Chiefs beat the Cardinals 44-21 on 5 Mahomes touchdowns. Chargers beat the Raiders 24-19 on 3 Carr interceptions. Bucks beat the Cowboys 19-3. Dak Prescott out for 6 to 8 weeks. As much as I hate the Cowboys, I hate to see that. And the Seahawks beating the Broncos just about an hour ago, 17-16 on a missed 64-yard field goal instead of letting Russell Wilson go for it on 4th and 5. After all said and done, we both ended up getting 2 picks correct, but we both got the wager pick wrong. So that's 3 points for each game we got correct, but then minus 3 points for getting our wager pick wrong, leaving us both at 3 points, but I got my 2-point conversion right. So the current score is 5-3. I am in the lead after 1 week of Nick's picks. But let's get into week 2 without further ado. We start with the game of the week, and my game of the week is going to be the second week in a row I am doing an AFC West matchup. The Kansas City Chiefs going up against the Los Angeles Chargers. Second week in a row also picking a Los Angeles Chargers game. The Chargers got their win last week against the Raiders, like I said, off of 3 Derek Carr interceptions. Herbert played really well. They spread the ball out a lot. There wasn't really any receiver that took over the game, so Herbert was getting a lot of different people involved. But Mahomes went absolutely fucking nuts in week 1, proving that he didn't need Tyreek, and that offense is still just as scary as it ever was. So they are playing in Kansas City. On paper, I do believe strongly that the Chargers have the better roster, but I do think the Chiefs get this win early on in the season, and I think obviously they end up splitting the season series that they're going to have against each other. So I am going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs on this one just because of the home team, and Mahomes is coming off that crazy week of his. 32-28, I have the Chiefs beating the Chargers for my game of the week.
Well, my game of the week, I texted Nick since I got game of the week technically last week, first pick. I kind of just had to look because there's not really many good matchups in my personal opinion, but I went with the Raiders and the Cardinals, 2 teams that I have making the playoffs and our preseason picks. And I had the Raiders bouncing back against the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals just have a really tough early stretch, especially without DeAndre Hopkins. But I have the Raiders winning this one 24-17. I think Carr bounces back. I mean, still had a great game. He had, I saw the stat. It was like he had more receiving yards than any of the all the Packer receivers combined. So he's still a beast. He's still, if he's not number one, he's number two behind Cup. You can pick either one. Either way, I got the Raiders winning against the Cardinals.
We move on to our picks of the week. The Giants coming off a ballsy win against the Tennessee Titans, and the Falcons will have to go up against the defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams after choking a lead last week that I've already mentioned a few times, but I just want to keep bringing that up for you. The Giants game last week, they went up against the Tennessee Titans, and to be completely honest, Tennessee Titans, now that Dak Prescott is out, the Tennessee Titans are the Giants' hardest game until week 5 against the Green Bay Packers. So there's a realistic shot that the Giants go 4-0 in these first couple weeks. Obviously, the Panthers probably be their second toughest test in these first couple weeks. A few takeaways from the Giants game. The first half of the game was just absolutely awful. I thought there was no shot we were winning the game, and I thought that there was literally just more problems on the offensive line than we've had in the last couple seasons, because it was every single play Daniel Jones just had somebody in his face the second he hiked the ball. Finally, second half rolled around, and the Tennessee Titans decided, you know what, that blitzing thing that we were doing in the first half that was working so well, we're going to stop doing that. We're going to stop blitzing Daniel Jones, and we're just going to give him some time in the pocket and see what he can do. Well, him and Saquon just decided to go off. 65-yard touchdown to Sterling Shepard. Saquon had a couple of big runs. He almost fumbled that one. But the Giants ended up squeaking out a win against the Tennessee Titans. The Carolina Panthers, on the other hand, couldn't beat the Cleveland Browns without Mr. Happy Endings, proving that once again Baker Mayfield was the problem in Cleveland. So I think the Giants should realistically win this game. It's at home. The Panthers played like shit last week. The Giants didn't for once in their lives. So there's a good shot at the Giants going 2-0 here, and I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to pick them 24-17. Giants over the Carolina Panthers. I think it really comes down to if Saquon can have as effective of a day, and if the offensive line can protect Daniel Jones long enough to at least get some passes off to take some of the workload off of Saquon.
Before I get to mine, because I'm going to be very quick on mine, we'll see if the Manning cast curse is still alive and well, because Barkley was interviewed. So I texted you, I was this close to challenging, but I was like, I'm going to hold it. I feel like there's going to be another one down the road that I want to save it on. So
if you sent your first challenge on Giants and Panthers,
that's what I'm saying.
That'd be on you, not me.
Now to my team going against my dad's team and the defending champs, as you said. Even though the Rams didn't look that great week 1, outside of Cooper Kupp's touchdown, which still was amazing. That was probably the only highlight. But they are playing Atlanta. Atlanta really doesn't have anything. I originally had 32-17, but I realized A, that was the same score I predicted for the Saints, and B, Atlanta is going to try to look like they're going to prove something. So instead, I have 32-21 because Atlanta will probably somehow make it seem like they're competitive, and I hate it. Just keel over and die. Get the first pick. Get Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. I don't care. Just pick one of the two.
I hope they don't score 21 points because I still have the Rams defense on fantasy, and I need a better fucking week than last week.
Oh, yeah, side note, I beat Nick in week 1.
I don't give a fuck. So. Let's move on to the next game. Okay, we move on to the pick that we gave each other. Ben is having me talk about the Detroit Lions going up against the Washington Commanders. Why? I don't know, to be honest with you. But I will be giving Ben the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. So we go into our Detroit Lions and Commanders game. Now, these are two teams that both played well in their first game, respectively. Obviously, the Lions did not get the win, but putting up 35 points on the Philadelphia Eagles, who have a very good roster, putting up 35 points on that defense is pretty good. DeAndre Swift is, in my opinion, probably one of the most underrated running backs in the league. I do think that the Lions have a very underrated team. And I said this in the preseason pick, how I think that the Lions could be a dark horse team. The Commanders, they had a very good game, but then again, they played Jacksonville. So take that with the grain of salt that you will. So with Detroit being home for their second straight game, I do think that the Detroit Lions can beat the Washington Commanders, considering that they almost beat the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think Philadelphia is far above Washington. So I do have the Lions winning this one 28-24 over the Washington Commanders. That one might come back to bite me, though, because the Lions have a very good tendency to play really well one week and then not show up at all the next week. So a good chance Lions get shut out in this game. But I'm going to go with the Lions 28-24 over Washington.
So mine is the 49ers playing against the Seattle Seahawks, who just came off a huge win against the Denver Broncos. A lot of people have the Broncos as a playoff team, obviously, with Wilson. Didn't come through tonight, but Seattle riding high with Geno Smith. Yeah, no, they're losing this week 28-14. I don't see, again, I don't really believe with either quarterback, either Trey
I was going to
Lance
say,
or
did you
Geno.
see how Trey Lance played last week? Like, I don't...
To be fair, I'm banking more on the Niners defense against Seattle's offense.
So, we introduced a wager pick last week into Nick's picks for Season 3. And it was supposed to be a pick that we think is a lock. I think that a pick that we think is going to be absolutely guaranteed and that we're so confident we're willing to wager points.
And we both lost.
Yeah, we both fucked that one up, didn't we? So, we move into week 2, and I have a team that is 0-1 going up against a team that is 1-0, and I'm picking the 0-1 team as the lock to win the game. So, we're starting off great on these wager picks, but it is the Green Bay Packers going up against the Chicago Bears, and like Rodgers said last season very loudly to the Chicago Bears fans, he still owns them. So I do think that the Packers are a lock to win this game 27-13 over the Chicago Bears. My 2-point conversion last week was that the Bears would show that they failed Justin Fields by not getting a whole lot of offensive yardage, and they didn't get a whole lot of offensive yardage. So I got my 2 points, but they won the game, so it felt a little weird. But you're not going to be able to put up that kind of offensive performance against the Green Bay Packers and expect to win. I understand Green Bay only scored 7 points last week, but Chicago isn't Minnesota. So I do think that the Packers will bounce back heavily this week. I think Aaron Rodgers will bounce back. He'll take his, aloha medicine or whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know what he's taking.
I don't even know.
But I'm sure he'll be fine. 27-13. I have the Packers winning over the Chicago Bears for my wager pick.
All right. Mine is a team that, both teams have won. One crushed my heart as a Falcon fan, but it's all good. And another crushed Dak's hand. I'm, of course, talking about the New Orleans Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I was close to not picking this as a wager, but then I started thinking about it, and it was
I had to promise that I wouldn't challenge this one. FYI.
Yes, and that is Nick saying that I am picking the Saints. They have beaten Brady since Brady has come to Tampa. They are 4-1, and the one loss is just in the playoffs. So in the regular season, they are 4-0, and they just dominate Brady apparently. And this is without, I think, because Breeze retired last year or whatever. So that was without Brady or without Breeze, and they still dominated. Baffles my mind. So I have the Saints beating the Buccaneers 8-17, continuing that regular season streak against Brady, and that's all I got. I hate both teams, but you know what? If it means Brady loses and can never beat the Saints, I'll at least be happy there.
And we finish Nick's picks week 2 with the 2-point conversion, a game that we haven't talked about yet. And I am going with the Cincinnati Bengals going up against the Dallas Cowboys, who are now depleted. Joe Burrow was not all that great against the Pittsburgh Steelers last week, throwing for, I believe, 4 interceptions and only scoring 20 points against just what we thought was a depleted Pittsburgh Steelers team. Now they're going up against a depleted Dallas Cowboy team without their starting quarterback, Dak Prescott, and with a lot of question marks on their defensive side of the football because they just, I mean, I know they only held Tampa Bay to a touchdown last week, but they just didn't look great on defense. My 2-point conversion this week is that Joe Burrow is going to bounce back. Our defending AFC champion, he is going to bounce back and have a great game against a depleted Dallas Cowboy team. He is going to throw for at least 300 passing yards and 1 or fewer interceptions to make up for the fact that he threw for 4 last week. So Joe Burrow, 300 plus passing yards and 1 or fewer picks this upcoming week against a depleted Dallas Cowboy team. And I love saying depleted Dallas Cowboy team. I don't like that, Dak got injured, but anytime Dallas struggles is a good time for me.
All right, mine is going to one of the Monday night games, and that is the Titans going against the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills showed out on Monday night against the defending champs. Basically, outside of, again, that one touchdown by Cooper, basically in the whole second half, shut down that entire offense of the LA Rams, and they went out. And I think in this game, Derrick Henry, even though I think he is an elite running back, one of the best running backs in the league, I think this Bills defense is going to continue to show how great they are, and Derrick Henry will not have over 100 yards rushing. I think he can get a touchdown because I think in the goal line he'll get something. They'll probably still lose. So I won't go that far, but no more than 100 yards rushing.
The second you said Derrick Henry, the first thing I was like, oh my God, is he seriously going to be like, Buffalo is not as good as I think they are? I think Derrick Henry's going to go off against this Buffalo team. I was just expecting that. So that is it for week 2, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It is Nick's Picks signing off at 1:05 a.m.
Yay.
I get to go back to bed after getting all this adrenaline to get ready to record. So we will be back for week 3 next Thursday. Again, a reminder, the score is 5-3. If you are not part of the Nick's Picks Fantasy League, obviously the Fantasy League will be determining what trivia questions we have to answer at the Super Bowl special. So it is going to be another hot challenge this year, but we might have some tougher questions to get through. So this 5-3 score might be a lot more important than previous years. But Ben, is there anything you have to say before we head out for week 2?
Not at all. I'm tired as fuck, dude.
I am right there with you. And I will see you guys on the next Picks episode. Have a great one, guys. Peace.
My sister's cat's just leaning towards me, and it's a little... Okay, now she walked away. All right, that's it. Bye, guys.